Right, good morning, everyone. While we wait for the program to start, those who would like to have refreshments may proceed to the refreshments area where coffee and water is available right on this side. And meanwhile, we'd like to recognize Attorney Alan Felix Macaraya, OIC RD of NTC Region 7. Hello. For the representatives of PSA, or Philippine Statistics Authority, we have Wilma Perante, Regional Director Officer in charge of Region 7. We also have from PSA Central Office, Mr. John Pogito, Senior Statistical Specialist. Carolyn Macabata, Statistical Analyst. We also have representatives from Bohol, headed by Ms. Jessamyn and Alcazaren. And for PSO Cebu, we have Mr. Felixberto Sato Jr. check. Hey, check 1, 2. Check, check. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Regional Data Dissemination Forum on Key Indicators of the 2025 National Demographic and Health Survey. Today's gathering serves as a vital platform for presenting the key findings of the 2025 NDHS and for highlighting their policy implications for health, population, and development planning in Central Visayas. We are honored to have with us our esteemed government partners, representatives from national government agencies, local government units, members of the academe, media practitioners, and other valued stakeholders. To formally begin our program, may I request everyone to stand for the invocation, followed by the singing of the Philippine National Anthem.
To our distinguished guests, representatives of partner agencies.
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for gathering us all today in this important endeavor. We ask that you bestow your guidance and blessing upon each attendee. May we honor one another by keeping an open mind. May we voice our truth and listen with an open heart. Bless everyone present today, that each may be able to share his or her contributions and gifts. Grant good health and safety to loved ones left outside this room, and bestow peace and goodwill to all of us. We ask for your wisdom and grace to use our talents for the betterment of others. May the various activities related to this day be a success through your intervention. With gratitude, we offer this prayer in your name. Amen.
Mga kababayan, Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Please take your seats. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. We would like to acknowledge our regional directors who are present with us here this morning. We have from DICT Region 7, RD Frederick DC Amores. Round of applause, please. From our OIC RD of NTC 7, Attorney Alan Felix Macaraya. For the Philippine Statistics Authority representatives, we have the Regional Director, Officer in Charge of PSA Region 7, RD Wilma Perante. We also have from our Central Office representatives, Mr. John Polguito, Senior Statistical Specialist, and Ms. Carolyn Macabata, Statistical Analyst. From PSO Bohol, we have Ms. Jessamyn and Alcazaren. Meanwhile, for PSO Cebu, we have Mr. Felixberto Sato Jr. Ladies and gentlemen, to deliver the welcome remarks, may we call on the National Statistician and Civil Registrar General of the Philippine Statistics Authority, Under Secretary Claire Dennis S. Mapa, through an audio-visual presentation. May I request everyone's attention to the screen.
To our distinguished guests, representatives of partner agencies, development partners, members of the academic community, and my colleagues from the Philippine Statistics Authority, a pleasant day to all of you. Today, we convene for the Regional Dissemination Forum of the 2025 National Demographic and Health Survey Key Indicators. The Philippine Statistics Authority will present key statistical data from the NDHS that would help guide our policymakers in drafting programs that respond to the needs of our people. This forum allows us to collectively reflect on how this data can facilitate evidence-based policymaking, strengthen regional and local program planning, and enhance the monitoring and evaluation of population and health initiatives. The 2025 National Demographic and Health Survey is the 13th in a series of surveys conducted since 1968, designed to assess the country's demographic and health situation. Notably, it is the first survey conducted following the institutionalization of the conduct of the National Demographic and Health Survey every 3 years, beginning in 2025. This strategic shift ensures that data generation aligns more closely with the midterm update of the Philippine Development Plan, thereby enabling more responsive and timely policy and program adjustments at both the national and regional levels. The data from the National Demographic and Health Survey will be monitored over time to evaluate the effectiveness of health-related interventions in improving outcomes for Filipino families. More importantly, at the regional level, this data will serve as a critical foundation for identifying gaps, setting targets, and prioritizing interventions that address the needs and realities of communities across regions. The National Demographic and Health Survey serves as a vital instrument for monitoring our country's progress towards achieving the Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs. Through this regional fora, we can examine not only national trends, but also regional patterns that highlight disparities, gains, and areas requiring urgent attention. Some of the key indicators we will highlight today are the following: adolescent fertility, family planning, maternal care, childhood mortality, and child immunization. Measures that track our progress toward SDG number 3, good health and well-being. Second, violence against women and women's empowerment. These are critical indicators that underscore our commitment to SDG number 5, gender equality. And finally, child discipline, an essential measure that speaks to our pursuit of SDG number 16, peace, justice, and strong institutions. We want the National Demographic and Health Survey to continue providing reliable and timely information that regional planners, local chief executives, program managers, policymakers, and social scientists, researchers that they can depend on. With the National Demographic and Health Survey, we better understand demographic and health trends. We see where we have been, where we are now, and where we need to go. Using the NDHS data, we are better equipped to design targeted interventions, refine policies, and ultimately improve the well-being of our constituents across all regions. The results of the 2025 National Demographic and Health Survey will also allow comparison with the 2022 NDHS, which captured demographic and health indicators during the COVID-19 pandemic. In contrast, the 2025 National Demographic and Health Survey provides us on-the-ground outcomes across different regions. We thank our partners who made the National Demographic and Health Survey possible: national government agencies with technical assistance affairs and trade social protection, inclusion, and gender equality, or the SPRING program. funding from the Government of the Philippines and the Nations Children's Fund, Philippine Commission on Women, and the University of the Philippines Population Institute during the preparatory and training phases of the survey, made for stronger collaboration to share their insights and turn in their respective areas. At this point, we will unveil the regional data on key indicators generated from the 2025 National Demographic and Health Survey. Maraming salamat at magandang umaga sa ating lahat.
Thank you very much, Yusek Mapa, for the inspiring message. Now, ladies and gentlemen, a while ago, I've already acknowledged our regional directors and members of the PSA. These departments were present here with us. PPDO from the Department of Energy, Visayas Bureau, Region 7. Bureau of Local Government Finance, Region 7. LG from the Department of Agriculture, RFO 7. We also have from Cebu Ports Authority. From BFAR. DENR 7. Hello, good morning. From City Planning and Development Office, Cebu. The Freeman, we have representatives here. We also have from Brigada News FM. Department of Tourism. DYRF. We also have from CPDO Lapu-Lapu. And from TESTA Region 7. Of those who haven't been mentioned, providing us with an overview of this survey, let us now watch an audio-visual presentation on the background and overview of the 2025 National
Demographic and Health Surveys since 19 Statistics Authority. With technical assistance provided by the United Nations Population Fund Philippines through the Australian Department of Foreign Affairs, and to be implemented within the conduct of the survey every 3 years. Survey results also serve as inputs for the and Health Survey, or NDHS, through the Australian Department provide up-to-date estimates of basic demographic and infertility, fertility preferences, family planning practices, childhood mortality, maternal care, child health and development, violence against women, is intended to assist policymakers and development of Filipinos. The 2025 and the PDP for 2023 to 2020 households for the 2025 NDHS. The 2023 GOMS uses the results of the 2020 Census of Population and Housing. The enumeration area reference file of the 2020 CPH is used as reference in constructing the primary sampling unit frame, while the 2020 list of housing units for each of the PSUs is used as the secondary sampling unit frame. The 2025 NDHS implemented a two-stage systematic cluster sampling design to select households to be part of the survey. The first stage of the sampling procedure is the selection of 1,263 enumeration areas or barangays as the primary sampling units or PSUs distributed by province and the highly urbanized cities or HUCs nationwide. Meanwhile, the second stage is an equal take of 24 and 32 sample housing units for province and HUC domains respectively was selected from each sampled PSU using a systematic random sampling. This sampling scheme provides data representative of the country as a whole for urban and rural areas and for each of the country's 18 regions. Sample households were visited for face-to-face interviews, and information about the household was obtained using the household questionnaire that was loaded in the tablets. All women aged 15 to 49 who were either permanent residents or visitors who stayed in the selected households the night before the survey were eligible to be interviewed using the individual woman's questionnaire, which are also loaded in the tablets. Among women eligible for an individual interview, 1 woman per household was selected for the Women's Safety Module. 1 child aged 1 to 14 years was selected in the household for the Child Discipline Module, and 1 child aged 2 to 4 years per eligible woman was selected for the Early Child Development Index Module. A total of 41,602 housing units or households were selected for this sample, of which 36,309 were found eligible for household interview. Of the eligible households, 36,128 households were successfully interviewed, yielding a response rate of 99.5%. In the interviewed households, 30,223 women aged 15 to 49 years were identified for the individual interviews. Interviews were completed for the 29,694 women, yielding a response rate of 98.2%. The 2025 NDHS has two main questionnaires and a field worker questionnaire. The sample households that were systematically selected for the survey were visited and enumerated using a household questionnaire. The household questionnaire permits the interviewer to identify women who are eligible to be interviewed using the individual woman's questionnaire. The questionnaires were finalized in English and translated into 6 major languages including Tagalog, Cebuano, Ilocano, Bicol, Hiligaynon, Waray. The household questionnaire collected data on usual household members and visitors, housing characteristics, health insurance coverage, health facility utilization, knowledge of local health programs, child discipline. Meanwhile, individual woman's questionnaire collected data on respondents' background, reproduction, family planning, pregnancy and postnatal care, child immunization, early childhood development index module, marriage and sexual activity, fertility preferences, husband's background and woman's work, HIV/AIDS, other health issues, women's safety module. A field worker questionnaire that records the field interviewers and team supervisors' background characteristics was also included. Information gathered from the questionnaire was used for accountability and data cleaning purposes. The 2025 NDHS has 4 survey manuals: Field Interviewers Manual, Supervisors Manual, Computer Assisted Personal Interviewing or CAPI System Manual, Data Processing System Manual. The Field Interviewers Manual was prepared primarily for the use of the field interviewers, team supervisors, and other personnel who are involved in the 2025 NDHS. The topics covered in this manual include the objectives, concepts and definition used in the survey, roles of the SRs, and detailed instructions on accomplishing the 2025 NDHS questionnaires. The Supervisor's Manual was prepared primarily for the use of team supervisors involved in the 2025 NDHS. The topics covered in this manual include the background of NDHS, preparation, organization, and supervision during field work, monitoring field interviewers' performance, and managing workload assignments. The Computer Assisted Personal Interviewing or CAPI System Manual provides guidance on operating and troubleshooting the tablet, navigating the CAPI system, conducting household and individual interviews, and managing data collection procedures. The data processing system is used to manage and monitor survey data throughout field operations. It enables users to navigate the system efficiently, edit the quality and consistency, and securely upload and mock up collected data. As part of the preparatory activities before the conduct of the data collection, the survey pre-test was conducted on August 4 to 8, 2025 in Calasiao, Pangasinan to test the appropriateness and effectiveness of the CAPI system and determine the average output per day and other issues that may arise during the actual data collection. A series of training for the field personnel were conducted in 2 stages, the first level training followed by the second level training. The task force training was conducted on September 8 to 19, 2025 at the PSA Central Office to train the regional focal persons and the regional IT personnel, led by the Central Office trainers, with technical assistance provided by the UNFPA Philippines through the Australian DFAT, and resource persons from the Commission on Population and Development, United Nations Children's Fund Philippines, Philippine Commission on Women, and University of the Philippines Population Institute. The second level training aimed to train the interviewing teams in the respective regions, consisting of the field interviewers and the team supervisors. The SLTs were conducted from September 29 to October 10, 2025, facilitated by the PSA's 18 Regional Statistical Services Offices or RSSOs across the Philippines. After the simultaneous training, the 2025 NDHS data collection was successfully conducted from October 13 to November 29, 2025 by the 114 interviewing teams. Each team consisted of a female team supervisor and 2 to 4 female field interviewers. During data collection, each of the field interviewers were provided with handheld tablets installed with the questionnaires to be used during interviews. The team supervisors also utilized tablets to allocate the workload of the interviewers and to receive and transmit the accomplished questionnaires. The data processing was simultaneously conducted with the data collection from October to December 2025 at the provincial, regional, and central office level. The data processing system produces field check tables intended for monitoring fieldwork and data quality at an almost real-time data collection status. And finally, the results of the key indicators will be unveiled at the National and Regional Dissemination Fora of the 2025 NDHS from March to May. The 2025 NDHS implemented a 2-stage systematic cluster sampling design to select households to be part.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, that we have the background and overview of the 2025 National Demographic and Health Survey, we now proceed to the presentation of the survey results. To present the findings on respondents' background and child health and development, may we call on the Regional Director and Officer in Charge of PSA RSSO 7, Director Wilma Perante. A round of applause, please.
You must be happy. To our partner agencies from other government offices, invited guests from the academe, media practitioners, stakeholders from the private sector, honored guests, official and representatives from the local government units, representatives and officials of the Philippine Statistics Authority headquarters, regional and provincial offices. Maayong buntag sa atong tanan. The Philippine Statistics Authority is pleased to present the key indicators of the National Demographic and Health Survey for Central Visayas. I will present first the child health and development indicators from the 2025 NDHS results. The outline for this presentation will include child immunization, childhood mortality, child discipline, and early childhood development index. The 2022 results were rerun to exclude the provinces of Negros Oriental and Siquijor from Region 7 to ensure comparability with the 2025 results. Hence, the 2022 figures presented may differ from the previously published results. In all presentations, Central Visayas excludes the provinces of Negros Oriental and Siquijor for both 2022 and 2025. Child immunization is used for monitoring SDG 3.B.1 or the proportion of the target population covered by all vaccines included in their national program. An important measure of vaccination coverage has been the proportion of children receiving all basic antigens. Children are considered fully vaccinated with all basic antigens if they have received the single dose of BCG vaccine, 3 doses of DTP containing vaccine, 3 doses of OPV or IPV, and a single dose of measles containing vaccine or MMR. A second measure of vaccination coverage is the percentage of children aged 12 to 23 months and 24 to 35 months who are fully vaccinated according to the national schedule. A child aged 12 to 23 months is considered to be fully vaccinated according to the national schedule if the child has received 1 dose of BCG vaccine, 1 birth dose of hepatitis B vaccine, 3 doses of DPT-containing vaccine, 3 doses of OPV, 2 doses of IPV, 3 doses of PCV, and 1 dose of MMR vaccine. Meanwhile, children aged 24 to 35 months are considered fully vaccinated according to the national schedule if they have received a second dose of MMR vaccine in addition to all of the vaccinations relevant for a child aged 12 to 23 months. For Central Visayas, vaccination coverage for children aged 12 to 23 months, about 8 out of 10 or 79.3% were fully vaccinated with the basic antigens. Meanwhile, about 5 out of 10 or 49.3% were fully vaccinated according to the national schedule in the region. And then for children aged 24 to 35 months, in 2025, 49.0% were fully vaccinated according to the national schedule in Central Visayas. This is slightly higher from 47.6% in 2022. Now let's look at the coverage of specific vaccines under our basic antigens for children aged 12 to 23 months. We see that 96.2% received BCG vaccine, higher than the 92.9% in 2022. 85% received 3 doses of DPT containing vaccine, slightly lower than the 86.5% in 2022. 91.6% received 3 doses of polio vaccine given as OPV or IPV in 2025, higher by 8.4 percentage points from 83.2% in 2022, and 92.1% received 1 dose of MMR vaccine, slightly higher than the 90.5% in 2022. By region, coverage of basic antigens was highest in Ilocos region at 95.6% and lowest in BARM at 22.1%. Meanwhile, the Central Visayas placed it in the lower half with coverage of 79.3%. Next is the national schedule coverage for children aged 12 to 23 months. For the additional vaccines under the national schedule, 92.2% received the birth by 9.3 percentage points from 82.9% in 2022. 83.2% and 68.2% received 3 doses of PCV in 2025, lower compared with 83.2% in 2022. By region, vaccination according to national schedule coverage among children aged 12 to 23 months was highest in Ilocos region at 94.3%, as mentioned earlier, recorded 49.3%. In terms of vaccination trends in Central Visayas, the percentage of children aged 12 to 23 months who received all basic antigens dropped from 78.1% in 2013 to 72.2% in 2017 before increasing to 79.3% in 2025. Meanwhile, the percentage of children aged 12 to 23 months who receive vaccines according to the national schedule declined from 78.5% in 2013 to 60.8% in 2017 before increasing to 62.4% in 2022 and then declined again to 49.3% in 2025. Lastly, the proportion of children who did not receive any vaccination rose from 3.2% in 2013 to 16.6% in 2017, then decreased to 3.8% in 2025. Next on my discussion are the childhood mortality rates. Neonatal mortality rate is the probability of dying within the first month of life. Post-neonatal mortality rate is the probability of dying between the first month of life and first birthday. Infant mortality rate is the probability of dying between birth and the first birthday. Under 5 mortality rate is the probability of dying between birth and the 5th birthday. And child mortality rate is the probability. For the 10-year period before the survey, there was a steady decline for the mortality rates from 2003 to 2025, where for neonatal mortality rate, there were 10 deaths per 1,000 live births, a decrease from 14 deaths per 1,000 live births in 2022. Per 1,000 live births, also a decrease from 21 deaths per 1,000 live births in 2022. For under 5 mortality rates, there were 12 deaths, ito naman ay green, per 1,000 live births for 2025, which also declined compared with 2022 at 24 deaths per 1,000 live births. Again, for the 10-year period before the survey, the under 5 mortality rate was highest in Mimaropa at 41 deaths per 1,000 live births and lowest in Cagayan Valley at 7 deaths per 1,000 live births. Central Visayas recorded 12 deaths per 1,000 live births. Moving on, we have the child discipline, which tracks SDG indicator 16.2.1, or the proportion of children aged 1 to 17 years who experience any physical punishment and or psychological aggression by caregivers in the past month. In Central Visayas, results showed the non-violent discipline increased to 59.4% in 2025 from 37.8% in 2022. Psychological aggression decreased to 31.0% in 2025 from 52.3% in 2022. Next, any physical punishment showed a decrease to 19.2% in 2025 from 37.8% in 2022. For severe physical punishment, there was a decrease to 1.5% in 2025 from 2.3% in 2022. And lastly, any violent discipline method decreased to 34.9% from 61.2% recorded in 2022. By region, children aged 1 to 14 years who experienced any violent discipline method was highest in Davao region, with 70.9% and lowest in BARM, with 32.7%. Meanwhile, 3 out of 10 children, or 34.9%, experienced any violent discipline method in Central Visayas. The 2025 NDHS included the Early Childhood Development Index 2030 module developed by UNICEF, or ECDI 2030, for the Multiple Indicator Cluster Surveys Program, which is monitored for the SDG Indicator 4.2.1, or the proportion of children aged 24 to 59 months. In the Philippines, the proportion of children aged 24 to 59 months who are developmentally on track increased from 2025. Likewise, in Central Visayas, the ECDI increased from 78.9% in 2022 to 79.5% in 2025. This translates to nearly 8 in every 10 children aged 24 to 59 months were developmentally on track in health, learning, and psychosocial well-being in Central Visayas. Meanwhile, ECDI was highest in Negros Island region at 93.0% and lowest in BARM at 47.2%. That ends the first presentation, and thank you very much, and maayong buntag again sa ating tanong.
Thank you very much, Director Perante. Ladies and gentlemen, next for the presentation on maternal care and domestic violence, may we call the Chief Statistical Specialist of the Statistical Operations and Coordination Division of PSA Region 7, Mr. Leopoldo P. Alfanta, Jr.
Childbirth and after delivery are important for the survival and well-being of both the mother and the infant. Gender-based violence is acknowledged worldwide as a violation of basic human rights. In a common form of gender-based violence is intimate partner violence or domestic violence. Maayong buntag sa tanan. In this presentation, I will focus on key indicators related to maternal health and domestic violence in the 2025 NDHS. Maternal health information was obtained from women aged 15 to 49 years who had given birth in the 2 years before the survey, and postnatal age of women who receive antenatal care from a skilled provider, including a doctor, nurse, or midwife, for their most recent live birth slightly decreased from 86.3% in 2022 to 76.0% in 2025. Similarly, the percentage who receive a postnatal check from a doctor, nurse, midwife, traditional birth attendant, or hilot within the first 2 days following a live birth dropped to 77.5% in 2025 from 91.2% in 2022. About 3 in 4 women aged 15 to 49 years whose most recent live birth received tetanus toxoid injections to protect their baby against neonatal tetanus. This reflects an increasing trend from 63.6% in 2022 to 79.2% in 2025. Looking at the trends in antenatal care, or ANC, from 1993 to 2025, the proportion of women with a live birth who received ANC from a skilled provider increased from 90.8% in 2003 to 97.5% in 2013. then started to decline from 2017 up to 76.0% in 2025. Meanwhile, however, the percentage of women with at least 4 ANC visits showed a steady increase from 72.9% in 2003 to 91.4% in 2013, followed by a decline to 88.6% in 2017 and a subsequent increase to 94.0% in 2025. Meanwhile, coverage of 8 or more ANC visits increased steadily from 26.1% in 2003 to 50.1% in 2017, declined to 41.0% in 2022, and then rose again to 64.3% in 2025. By region, ANC coverage with 8 or more visits is highest in Central Visayas with 64.3% and lowest in BARM with 14.0%. On trends in postnatal care for the mothers, the percentage of women who had a postnatal check during the first 2 days after a live birth increased from 49.6% in 2008 to 90.2% in 27.5% in 2025. By region, Western Visayas recorded the highest percentage of women receiving postnatal checks at 91.4%, while BARM had the lowest at 54.1%. Central Visayas ranked 9th with about 77.5% of women receive a postnatal check within the first 2 days after birth. Health facility-based deliveries demonstrated a sustained upward trend since 2008. More recently, institutional deliveries decreased slightly to 99.1% in 2025 from 99.2% in 2022 and 80. Similarly, 99% of live births were assisted by a skilled provider in 2025. We will now look at the results on Domestic and Their Children Act of 2004 was passed into law to address the issue of violence against women and all forms of abuse within the family and intimate relationship. In the screen, you can see the definitions of emotional, physical, and sexual violence adopted from women aged 15 to 49 years who ever had a husband or intimate or most recent husband or intimate partner. The term husband in this indicator infers to the current husband for currently married women, the most recent husband for divorced, separated, or widowed women, the current intimate partner for never married women who currently have an intimate partner, and the most recent intimate partner for never married women who do not currently have an intimate partner but had one in the past. In 2025, 9 out of 100 women in Central Visayas reported experiencing physical, sexual, or emotional violence by their current or most recent husband, intimate partner. By region, Caraga region recorded the highest intimate partner violence, while BARM recorded the lowest percentage at 3.2%. Moreover, 7.9% of women ever experienced emotional violence, 3.3% ever experienced physical violence, and 1.3% ever experienced sexual violence committed by their current or most recent husband or intimate partner. This indicates a decrease in the percentage compared to 2022, from 17.3% for emotional violence, from 4.8% for physical violence, from 2.2% for sexual violence, and from 18.3% for any form of intimate partner violence. That concludes the presentation on maternal care and domestic violence.
Thank you very much, Mr. Alfanta. Next, for the presentation on family planning and fertility, may we call on the Chief Statistical Specialist of PSA Bohol Provincial Statistical Office, Ms. Jessamyn Ann C. Alcazaren.
A pleasant morning to one and all. We will now present our recent findings from the 2025 NDHS on fertility and family planning. Pregnancy data were collected by asking women of reproductive age 15 to 49 years to provide a complete history of all their live births, stillbirths, miscarriages, and pregnancy terminations. To ensure a comprehensive enumeration of births, women's responses to questions about the total number of children currently living with them, those living elsewhere, and those who had died were recorded, including pregnancies that did not result in a live birth. Family planning among couples will also be tackled in terms of the use and types of contraceptive methods to limit or space the number of children they have. This presentation consists of the following: total fertility rates, fertility preferences, teenage pregnancy, and family planning. The 2025 NDHS gathered information on the number of sons and daughters born to women over their lifetime. It also recorded each child's sex, date of birth, survival status, and if applicable, age at death. This data were used to calculate the total fertility rate, or TFR. This measures the average number of children a woman would have by the end of her childbearing years if she were to bear children at the current age-specific fertility rates. Age-specific fertility rates, or ASFR, show the average number of live births per 1,000 women in a given age group. These rates are based on detailed birth histories and are calculated for the 3 years before the survey. Based on the results of the 2025 NDHS, the total fertility rate in Central Visayas is 1.7 children per woman for the 3 years preceding the survey. If fertility were to remain constant at current levels, a woman would have an average of 1.7 children over her lifetime, which is below the replacement level of 2.1 children. Fertility also varied by region. that is from 1.3 children per woman in Calabarzon to 2.4 children per woman in Barm. In Central Visayas, fertility has decreased substantially since 1993, when the total fertility rate was 4.4 children per woman. And by 2025, women in the region had an average of 1.7 children per woman. Next is on fertility preferences for Central Visayas. Based on the 2025 NDHS results, nearly half of married women aged 15 to 49 years want no more children. About 5.9 want to wait at least 2 years, while 12.9% of women would like to have another child soon. In addition, 4.9% of women or their partners have been sterilized, and less than 1% want a child but are undecided about when. Next, we'll look at the percentage of currently married women aged 15 to 49 years who want no current pregnancy. Among women with 2 children, the percentage who want no more children or are sterilized in 2022 is 63.4% in 2025. Likewise, among women in Central Visayas with 3 children, desire to limit childbearing decreased from 74.7% in 2022 to 69.1% in 2025. In contrast, desire to limit childbearing among women with 4 or 5 children increased from 2022 to 2025. Note that figures in asterisk are based on 25 to 49 unweighted cases. For teenage pregnancy, there are percentages of women aged 15 to 49 years who have had or were pregnant with their first child at the time of the survey. 3.3% have ever been pregnant. This includes those who have had a live birth, are currently pregnant, or have experienced a pregnancy loss. 3.3% have begun childbearing, meaning they have had a live birth or are currently pregnant. 3.3% have had a live birth, and 0.4% are currently pregnant, and 0.05 or none have experienced a pregnancy loss. By region, teenage pregnancy was highest in Zamboanga Peninsula at 9.3%, while the National Capital Region recorded the lowest at 1.8%. Meanwhile, 3 out of 100 women in Central Visayas, or 3.3%, have ever been pregnant, making it the top 2 lowest region in terms of teenage pregnancy. Among all women aged 15 to 49 years, that is 25.7%, use any method of contraception. And among currently married women, the proportion is higher, that is 47.8% use any method of contraception. Looking at the screen, the pill is the most commonly used modern method among women aged 15 to 49 years in Central Visayas at 10.2%, and that is followed by IUD at 2.8%, female sterilization at 2.6%, injectables at 2.4%, implants at 1.6%, and male condom at 1.3%. Looking at the trends in contraceptive use among all women, use of any method of contraception rose from 33.1% in 2003 to 35.5% in 2013, dipped in 2017, and peaked at 36.2% in 2022, and then dropped sharply at 25.7% in 2025. Use of modern methods was fairly stable between 21 to 23% from 2003 to 2017, increased to 25.9% in 2022, and then fell back at 21.0% in 2025. Use of traditional methods rose from 10.3% in 2003 to 13.9% in 2032, and use of any method of contraception dropped from 60.8% in 2022 to 47.8% in 2025 among currently married women. Use of modern method also declined from 44.1% in 2022 to 39.3% in 2025. Use of traditional methods fell from 16.7% in 2022 to 8.4% in 2025. Planning, and that when we say unmet need, it refers to women who, number one, are not pregnant and not postpartum amenorrheic, are considered fecund and want to postpone their next birth for 2 or more years, or stop childbearing altogether but are not using any contraceptive method. Second, have a mistimed or unwanted current pregnancy, or number 3, are postpartum amenorrheic and their most recent birth in the last 2 years was mistimed or unwanted. Looking at the data for all women, the met need for contraception declined from 36.2% in 2022 to 25.7% in 2025. Meanwhile, the unmet need remained at almost unchanged at 9.9% in 2022 and 9.8% in 2025. That ends my presentation, and thank you for listening, and good morning.
Thank you very much, CSS Alcazaren, for the presentation. Now, ladies and gentlemen, to synthesize the highlights of this survey, let us once again turn our attention to the screen for the AVP on the key findings of the 2025 NDHS.
The Philippine Statistics Authority, with technical assistance provided by the United Nations Population Fund Philippines through the Australian Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, present the 2025 National Demographic and Health Survey Key Indicators. The percentage of women aged 15 to 49 years by type of residence, more than half of women, or 57.5%, are from urban areas, while around 4 out of 10 women, or 42.5%, reside in rural areas. By region, the National Capital Region accounts for the largest share of women with 15.0%, followed by Calabarzon with 13.5% and Central Luzon with 12.1%. By religion, 77.9% of women are Roman Catholic, 12.6% are Protestant, and 5.6% are Muslim. Regarding ethnicity, Tagalog is the predominant ethnic group among women at 29.6%, followed by Cebuano at 16.8% and Ilocano at 9.3%. In terms of education, about 2 in 5 women, or 40.8%, have completed some college. Nearly half, or 49.5%, have completed some junior or senior high school. Meanwhile, 7.5% completed some primary school and less than 1% have never attended school. By marital status, the majority of women, or 54.2%, are currently married or living with a partner as if married. 42.7% have never been married, and a small proportion are divorced or separated at 2.4% or widowed at 0.7%. By wealth quintile, 17.3% of women belong to the richest quintile, while 21.3% are recorded in the poorest quintile. Finally, in terms of health status, about 3 in 4 or 75.5% reported being in good or very good health. Child immunization. 8 out of 10 children aged 12 to 23 months are fully vaccinated with basic antigens, which include BCG, 3 doses of a DPT-containing vaccine, 3 doses of OPV or IPV, and 1 dose of MMR. Ilocos region has the highest proportion of fully vaccinated children at 95.6%, while the lowest is recorded in BARM at 22.1%. When assessed according to the National Immunization Schedule, which includes BCG, a birth dose of Hep B, 3 doses of a DPT-containing vaccine, 3 doses of OPV, 3 doses of inactivated polio vaccine, 3 doses of pneumococcal vaccine, and 1 dose of MMR, about 62.6% of children aged 12 to 23 months are fully vaccinated. Ilocos region records the highest coverage at 94.3%, whereas BARM has the lowest at 13.0%. All. Child mortality. Childhood mortality has generally declined since 1993, but per 1,000 live births, referring to the probability of dying within the first month of life. Meanwhile, the infant mortality rate is 18 deaths per 1,000 live births, which reflects the probability of dying between birth and the first birthday. And the under 5 mortality rate is 22 deaths per 1,000 live births, indicating the probability of dying between birth and the 5th birthday. Among children aged 1 to 14 years, about 39% experienced only non-violent forms of discipline. Further, Central Visayas has the highest proportion of children experiencing only non-violent discipline at 59.4%, while Davao region records the lowest at 26.4%. Davao region has the highest proportion of children exposed to any violent form of discipline at 70.9%, while the lowest is recorded in BARM at 32.7%. Overall, 54.7% of children aged 1 to 14 years experienced some form of violent discipline. Among children aged 24 to 59 months, about 78.3% are developmentally on track in terms of health, learning, and psychosocial well-being. Negros Island region has the highest proportion of developmentally on-track children at 93.0%, while the lowest is recorded in BARM at 47.2%. Among women aged 15 to 49 years, about 87.3% received antenatal care from a skilled provider such as a doctor, nurse, or midwife for their most recent live birth or stillbirth. In terms of protection against tetanus, about 75.9% of births are protected against neonatal tetanus, referring to the protection of most recent live births safeguarded through tetanus toxoid. Regarding postnatal care, about 76.6% of women received a postnatal check within 2 days after birth from a healthcare provider. Furthermore, a large majority of women who had a live birth were assisted by a skilled provider, defined as a doctor, nurse, or midwife, at 93.6% and 93.7% delivered in a health facility. Among women aged 15 to 49 years who have ever had a husband or intimate partner, about 15.4% have experienced physical, sexual, or emotional violence from their current or most recent partner. Caraga records the highest proportion at 24.0%, while the lowest is observed in BARM at 3.2%. In terms of specific forms of violence, about 14.0% of women have experienced emotional violence. Meanwhile, 5.3% have experienced physical violence, and 1.8% have experienced sexual violence committed by their current or most recent husband or intimate partner. Among married women, 16.2% want to delay childbearing, while 49.4% want no more children. About 4.9% of teenage women aged 15 to 19 have ever been pregnant, including those who have had a live birth, are currently pregnant, or have experienced pregnancy loss. Zamboanga Peninsula records the highest percentage of teenage pregnancy at 9.3%, while the National Capital Region has the lowest at 1.8%. In terms of family planning, 58.6% of currently married women aged 15 to 49 use any method of contraception. Furthermore, 58.6% of currently married women use any method of contraception, reflecting a slight increase overall. The use of modern family planning methods has increased to 44.5%, while the use of traditional methods has decreased to 14.1%. About 71.1% of currently...
Ladies and gentlemen, I failed to mention earlier, but we are live through the PSA Region 7 Central Visayas official Facebook page. That is through fb.com/PSAGovPH07. And we are also going to upload this recording on PH. We now move on to the discussion of the implications of the findings on fertility and family planning. To share insights on fertility and family planning, may we call on the Planning Officer 2 from the Commission on Population Development, Ms. Sybel A. Ibona.
Good morning, everyone.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, for a while.
I'll be presenting the opportunities and challenges of fertility decline. So we are fortunate not to gather and to work together because the results brings both opportunities and challenges. That's why we are here to collaborate, to work hand in hand. So, next one, please. So, the fertility trends, or the TFR, or total fertility rate, has continued its downward trajectory, signaling a demographic shift toward smaller families. below sa replacement fertility level nga 2.1. So that is also our challenge now. We are below the fertility level of 2.1. So what drives the decline of female fertility? So next. So also this one, the fertility preference of Central Visayas no longer desire more children. No? Desire more children. So 54 or more than 50% expressing no longer desire more children. So what are the factors that drives fertility, female fertility decline? So according to Abrigo and Estopasi 2022, improving socioeconomic status. So the improved socioeconomic status of women serve as the most significant factor in the decline of fertility among women. Then second, changing patterns of marriage. So no delayed ang marriage. Next is the increasing contraceptive use. So very evident sa result ganina nga gi-present with 14% and then declining desired children. No? Sa results sa NDHS is 54 or more than 50% ang nag-express na want no more children. No? Want no more children. Next is boosting child health and survival. No? So according to Abrigo and Estopasi 2022. So reflected ra pod siya sa results nga gi-present ganina. Diba? Then, balik sa ma'am. So, kanin sa boosting health and survival, so sa karaan pagyod, so taas kayo ang fertility rate o mortality rate. Kay poor man ang health sa una, di man pares karon nga improve na. Di ba, nag-increase ato mga life expectancy. Then, before, nga, taas kayo, kay nga naman, gamay raman ang makalahutay nga, modako sila, no? Kana bang, katungod sa kapor, so manang paspas mga anak para na ay ikapuli sa mga matay. No? So, inana na siya ang sa una pa, no? Then, sunod na sad nga, is paspas na sad mga anak gihapon kay kutungod unsa man daghan pa kay tag mga kayutaan sa una, no? So mapaspas sad para daghan ang mo trabaho sa kaumahan. So mao ni siya ang mga factors. Then sa family planning, so sa Philippines siya ganina 47 na ta sa Central Visayas, no? So increase ang availment sa family planning commodities, no? Next. So opportunities, so mo ni am na identify nga opportunities, improve maternal and child health. So lower fertility rates often lead to better health outcomes for mothers and children. With fewer and well-spaced pregnancies, women face lower risk of maternal complications, while children receive better care, nutrition, and health care services. So next, slower population growth rate, declining fertility contributes to slower population growth, which can reduce pressure on resources such as food, housing, education, healthcare, and employment opportunities. Governments may find it easier to provide quality public services and infrastructure. Next. For economic advantages, smaller family sizes may allow households to allocate more resources to each child's education, health, and well-being. At the national level, fertility decline may support economic growth through a demographic dividend, which the working age population become larger relative to dependents. Then increased educational and employment opportunities. So lower fertility may enable women to pursue higher education and participate more actively in the labor force. Then this can contribute to greater gender equality, higher household income, and improved economic productivity. Next, please. Then challenges na if continue ang pag-decline sa atong fertility, so aging population. No? So sa Philippines, by 2030, so projected na 11% of the older persons. No? So ang kung kano sa ata consider nga mahimong aging population kung 10% na ta sa ato ang total population. So kung mosulod na tag 10% atong 60 and over, sa 10% of the total population, so consider na taas aging. So sa Philippines, by 2030, around 11% ang projected nga Filipino older persons. Sa Central Visayas, sa katong napay Siquijor og Negros, kay nata sa 6%. Then, karon nga, Bohol na, akong nakita is almost rapod siya sa 6% gihapon. So, layo pa ta, no? 6%, pero mas okay nga na atay preparation. No? Sa ato ang preparation sa atong padulngan nga society, aging society. So, naiupat ka kategory sa population nga aging. Kung less than 10%, it means young pa ang population. Kung 10 to 19, meaning aging societies, then 19 to 29 is high aging societies, and then 30 or more is super aging or hyper aging societies. So, mo sa ato sa nang andaman, no? Kay ana man jud ta padulong, no? Tan-aw na to ang trend sa TFR na to. So, declining. So, next, balik sa miss. So, challenges, so, sa labor force, a continuous decline in fertility may eventually reduce the size of the future labor force. This can create shortages in workers and may affect economic productivity and national competitiveness if not addressed through appropriate policies. No? So mas okay na bisag layo pa na anatay preparation. No? Next. Increased dependency ratio. So with more elderly dependents and fewer working age population of working age people, the burden on the productive population increases. No, katong mga working age population nga 15 to 64. So, and workers may face higher costs in supporting healthcare, retirement benefits, and social welfare programs. No, so mas nindot nga aware ta sa mga demographic na to nga data para naatay plan no, in the future. Next. So economic slowdown, a declining population may reduce consumer demand, investment, and economic activity. Businesses may experience reduced markets and difficulty finding workers, which can affect national economic performance. Then another, declining school enrollment, lower birth rates may lead to fewer students in schools, which can affect the education sector, including teacher demand, school funding, and educational planning. Sa mana ito mga na-identify mga opportunities and challenges. No? So, i-prepare nato no kay mas nidaghan ang population sa mga dogs. No kay di naman di na kayo mga nganak kay malingaw na sa mga mas malingaw pa sila sa mga iro, no? So in preparation sa mga iring pod. Na then sa 'di ba sa China nag-impose sila og one child policy pero gi-end nila pag 2016 kay nga naman aging na pod sila, no? So manang mas nindot ning inani no ang opportunity nato nga aware sa ato mga demographic trends para pod sa ato ang for planning, no, programs and investments pod para sa ato mga padulngan, no, kay padung naman ta ma-aging, no? So mas okay nang prepare ta kaysa wala, no? And then sa other pod na countries na wala pa ko'y naadtuan pero nako'y madunggan nga ang ilang mga older persons ila ra gyapon gi-mobilize nga mahimong economically productive population. Then sa Philippines unsa man ta? Wala naman to nadayon ang kuano katong early retirement nga 56 ba to RD? Oh. Oh, mas okay to nga wala, no? Kay kuan man ang implication is kung early ang retirement, ang government ang length pod nga or number of years nga mag-support sa mga pensioners, no? So mobalik ra gihapon nato kung nadayon pa to, no? So may na lang kay wala, no? So okay, that would ends my presentation. Thank you very much.
Ma'am, thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Ibona. Now we continue the implications of the findings, this time on maternal care, child immunization, and child health and development. We now call on our resource person from the Department of Health, the OIC of the Family Health Section, Department of Health 7, Medical Officer 3, Dr. Faith R. Curaraton.
No, I do not have a presentation, okay? But since its implications on what was presented, what has transpired, okay? So the findings of the National Demographic and Health Survey provide critical evidence for one, policy formulation, second is program enhancement, and third is resource allocation. Okay? So with that, we would now know to enhance, and lastly, where to give our finances more. Now with the results, this highlights the need for strengthened prevention. Diba? We always tell, prevention is better than cure. Okay? Promotion, health promotion, or health education. Why? Because the seeking behavior of our people right now is wait lang sila. They just want to wait at their homes because kay balo sila na ang health na'y moduol sa ilaha. Which is, dapat we need to change it to the other way around. They should be the one who needs to seek health. Once they have an illness, they need to seek health. Okay? And lastly, the curative health interventions, of course. Once there is the disease burden, we need to give a cure. So this would improve population health outcomes and achieve maternal health targets under the universal health care. Now, if I'm going to give a presentation more on immunization, maternal care,
siguro I would lack a couple of minutes because I would need more. The children, one is to be vaccinated before they turn or at the turning age. 1 dose of BCG, 3 doses of Penta, 3 doses of OPV, and 1 dose of MMR. But what the DOH is having is 2 doses of MMR, or the measles, mumps, rubella vaccine. Why? Why is it not enough ang isa ka vaccine? Because a child would just have a seroconversion, meaning if a group of 10 children in a classroom and isa magka-measles nila, the next day, 8 of them will have measles. And then the very next day, you have 95 to 100% ang ma-absent. So that's how important 2 doses of measles is. The next is the timing of our vaccination. We are hoping to lessen na what we call the CIC, or the complete immunized child, na mag-start or ma-finish sila sa ilahang immunization by 2 years old. Why? Because in preventable diseases, it improves community health, reduces healthcare cost, and supports healthy growth and development. Now for maternal care, life, another foot is at the deathbed. So that's how critical our maternal care is. That's why we need to enhance more from 4 ANCs or antenatal care. We need 8 antenatal care because dili ra critical ang first trimester, but all throughout the 3 trimesters, a mother is at a critical stage. Now, maternal care ensures safer pregnancies and improve family and community well-being. Because kung happy si mama, happy si baby, this standardized evaluation into our daily rhythm, we ensure that every decision we make of the Filipino people. Thus, no mother or child should be left behind. Again, good morning and thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, to discuss the implications, representative from the Philippine National Police Women and Children Protection Desk, we have Cindy Pleños, DMS PNCO.
Good morning, everyone, especially to the fellow public servants, our partner agencies, ladies and gentlemen. Magandang araw sa ating lahat. So today I will be discussing the status of the violence against women and children, the ongoing efforts of the Philippine National to protect the vulnerable sectors and strengthen public safety in our communities. So in line with our vision of the PNP, bagong PNP para sa bagong Pilipinas, serbisyong mabilis, tapat at nararamdaman. So my presentation, the sequence of my presentation is the total, please next, VAUSI cases per police provincial offices, city police provincial offices, types of abuse experienced, average monthly crime rate per PPO, CPO, and analysis and assessment and the implications. Now for the total VAUSI cases per police provincial offices or the CPO, we have this from January 1 to December 31, 2022 versus January 1 to December 30% among the police offices. The Cebu Police Provincial Office recorded the highest number of cases. So it's also shown there that where's the Cebu? The Cebu Police Provincial Office from 288 to 590 cases. And the Bohol Police Provincial Office recorded 136 in 2022 and increased 287, 111%. Meanwhile, Lapu-Lapu City and Mandawi City registered or recorded slight decline. So the increase of this crime solution efficiency indicates that the Philippine National Police has become more effective in investigation and resolving domestic violence cases. It also shows improved police service response, stronger coordination with other agencies, and better efforts in ensuring that offenders are identified and cases are probably addressed. So this may also increase public trust and encourage more victims to report incidents to authorities. So it also shows there the CCE. CCE means the crime clearance efficiency. And CSE means clearance efficiency, where in fact, the total number of cleared cases as indicated is 196 out of the 600. Kasi po, ganito po yun, sir. Let me explain further. The crime clearance efficiency, or yung cleared cases, ay lahat ng mga solved cases kasi ay considered cleared doon. So, hindi lahat ng solved cases ay considered cleared. Kino-consider lang po ng PNP ang solved cases pag yung suspect or yung perpetrator identified, arrested, and may kaso po tayong na-file sa kanila. Consider din po doon sa amin ang solved cases ay yung amicable settlement. Mga problemado talaga sa kanilang pamilya. Punta doon sa station, agad-agad kinabukasan, just one sorry, I'll forget everything. Parang ganun lang, no? Di ba, ma'am? So, yun yung nangyayari. Yun yung reality. No? Kaya nga, lumulobo yung kaso natin, pero kinabukasan, nagiging solve yun. Kasi, yun na, isang sorry lang, okay na agad sila. For the sake sa, kung lalong-lalo na pag meron silang mga anak. Hindi nila nire-risk yung nila. Kahit na nasasaktan sila, basta mas-save lang yung family nila, okay na yun sa kanila. Pero iba yun dito sa atin kasi based on the statistic, ito ay recorded sa amin sa CIRAS, which is the Crime Information Reporting Analysis System. Ito yung nationwide na kinukuha natin na data na kung saan, yun na yung mga recorded, ma'am hazards. So meron tayong mga unreported, yun yung mga wala talagang guts na inire-report nila. But luckily, kaya lumulobo ngayon kasi marami nang aware na kaya pala, pwede palang mag-report tayo dahil nire-response pala tayo ng government. May support pala sa government. Okay? So next. Na-explain ko ba yun further yung kanina? Sorry. Balik muna. Ito namang nakikita nyo, no under investigation. Hindi na-detain, hindi na-arrested. So meaning remain cleared yung kaso. Or yung iba, hindi naman nila binalikan, na-identified nila, pero yun pa rin. Yung point doon, walang captured, walang arrest na nangyari. Hindi detain. Yun yung difference lang ng solved at saka yung cleared. Okay lang ba, sirs and ma'am? Klaro lang tayo doon. Kasi baka masyadong mabilis lang kami sa PNP, iba kasi yung iba kasi yung interpretation nyo. Meron kasing ibang agencies, lalo-lalo doon sa ating Department of Justice, iba yung solved cases din nila. So sa amin din, we're just referring to CIRAS case. Yung namin parang dugo namin, the statistics of crime data. Okay, dito naman tayo sa types of abuse experience. The data also shows that the physical abuse remained the most commonly reported from 4 to 18 cases in 2025. Kasali na yun ng mga PNP personnel nun, sirs and mama, yung mga economic. Kasi usually, may mga economic abuse kasi, nag-a-apply to, lalong-lalo, yung ang tali dito is purely sa PNP to, hindi sa PNP. So lang tayo, general lang tayo. Okay? So, these findings also suggest that the physical and psychological abuse continue to be the major forms of domestic violence in Region 7, highlighting the need for stronger protection measures and support services for victims, strengthening counseling services, mental health interventions, and community research analysis system. So in terms of civil status, majority or the highest number of victims naman dito ay nakikita nyo is sa physical abuse natin. Usually, lumulobo kasi nagja-jive si married at saka si live-in. Kung tutuusin, under naman sa by educational background, social status, or economic standing. It can happen in any family or relationship setting. Kahit gaano pa tayo din kaprotekta yung ating family or yung mga anak natin, hindi din natin madidiscount yung possibility na merong mangyayari sa kanila. Kaya, ano lang talaga, tayo din, nakakatulong din tayo sa family and sa environment, ay sa community. Yung the way kung paano natin i-uplift yung mga anak natin. Ako, by the way, I'm married and may 3 akong anak. So, magkasunod yun sila. Bali, nag-interval lang ng 5 years pala. So, ako din, meron din akong ano ba yung tawag dito? Nababahala din ako kasi meron akong anak na babae. Paano kung one day, baka isa din na yung anak ko yung sa maglikramo? Ano naman yung gagawin ko? So, that's why, sabi ko, siguro hindi ako magiging police nung time na yon. Kasi my husband is also a police officer para siya na lang yung mag-act. Kasi baka ako, iba yung magawa ko. Iba kasi yung nag-act tayo sa ibang tao kaysa tayo yung mismong ginagawa ng ganon. So I hope you also understand. Meron tayong iba yung nararamdaman ng ina kaysa sa father. So iba yun tayo mag-react compared those sa mga lalaki. I'm not saying, sir, relationships. So gender sensitivity and respect within the home. So dito naman tayo sa average monthly crime rate for Bausi cases. Ma'am, anong nangyari? Iba yung naging discussion kanina. Di ba nakita nyo, parang mga whole number. Ngayon, meron namang 0.2, ganito. Ano ba ang average monthly crime rate, ma'am, sa Bausi cases? Average monthly crime rate sa Bausi cases, this only refers, yung average, yung ilaga sa isang kaso, yung nila, posible pang umabot ng isang kaso out of doon sa ilang cases yung nasa kanila. Kasi 0.76 lang eh. Yun lang yung ratio. More than, pwede pa rin protektahan. No. Pababa siya, green ang color, yung intervention. Likely lang din yung cases compared sa Cebu province na marami yung area. Okay, so to the analysis and assessment naman tayo. So dito, 1,103 in 2025 may indicate the more victims are becoming more aware of their rights and are gaining confidence in to report incidents to authorities. So this also suggests that the efforts of the PNP, the local government units, and community programs to encourage reporting and provide assistance are becoming more effective. So effective, kasi nga, hindi na sila nababahala na pwede pala talaga silang mag-report. Kaya pala talagang mag-respond ng government. So the findings also show that the PNP, other law enforcement agencies, and support services are becoming more accessible to the public. Continuous awareness campaigns, stronger coordination among agencies, and active community involvement can further help in protecting victims and reducing domestic violence cases in Region 7. Now for the implication, ito, indicate that more victims are becoming aware of their rights and are now more willing to seek help from authorities. So this suggests improved public trust in the PNP and other support agencies in handling domestic violence cases. So the findings also, abuse, as shown, from 66.66% in 2022 to 79.51 in 2025 shows improvement in the effectiveness of the law enforcement in handling and resolving domestic cases. So, yun lang po yung magiging report namin sa PNP. Maraming salamat po. Dahil sa Bagong Pilipinas, ang gusto ng pulis, ligtas ka. Bagong PNP para sa Bagong Pilipinas, serbisyong mabilis, tapat at nararamdaman.
Thank you very much, Police Staff Sergeant Cindy Pleños. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we now open the fees. Please come here in front. May we also have our CSS of SOCD on PSA Region 7 as Mr. Leopoldo Alfanta Jr. in front. Our Chief Economic Development Specialist. questions, comments, and insights, may we request kindly state your name and agency before your question. Do we have questions from the audience members?
Okay, you'll be the next after. Okay, dito po tayo kay Miss Ma'am Jessamyn and Alcazaren. So, sobrang akong question. So, Ma'am, what are the main reasons behind the continuous decline in the first
Status of socioeconomic, then marital status, yung patterns is delayed yung marriages. So, that's all.
Ma'am, is it possible na parang bumaba po yung total fertility rate sa region because of poverty?
Yes, miss. Appeal na siya. We also experience na during when we are part from, under pa mi sa DOH, so mag-conduct mi og family planning caravan. So, makikita mo talaga na mga, yung parang, grabe nila mag-avail ng family planning method, and then gusto nila yung mga, yung long-term at saka yung permanent kasi sobrang hirap na daw. So, pero makikita pa rin natin yung decline. So, even na yung 0 to 14 is expansive pa yung, marami pa yon. Pero sa, sa result is declining pa rin. So, hindi ko alam kung, pero i-try pa natin i-monitor. Kaya kailangan yung population natin is i-monitor para kung anong gagawin natin na interventions or programs.
Thank you so much, Ma'am. I have a lot of questions, but I will give another chance to others.
Do we have someone else to ask a question or comment on any of our speakers?
Hello. Lang ako. Mag-go back to the data. Can we go to slide 40 for the presentation of Ma'am Jessa? Although there's no presentation of the comparison of 2022 and 2025, but let me go to the comparison what happened for Central Visayas from 2022 to 2025. In terms, we are looking at currently married women, 15 years old, and between 15 and 45 years. So looking at the data, if you look at 54.7% no longer desire more children, no? That's for 2020, that's for 2025. And then looking at it in 2022, na want no more children, we have 53.1% among women, 15 years and 15 to 49 years old. So, desire to limit childbearing. This is on slide 41. Slide 41. Children 0 to 4. Actually, there are increases in terms of those who don't want more children and or sterilized. Nag-increase po yung ating desire to limit children from in 2022, nag-reach siya to 90 children from 89.8 desire to limit childbearing to the low fertility in Central Visayas.
Good afternoon, everyone. to my fellow public servants. Good morning. Indicators, especially on teenage pregnancy. No, because in the SWD we also have interventions for out-of-school youth. No, these are the youth that were specifically out of school. My question is, meron ba tayong data on the age disaggregation of these 15 to 19 years old so that we will know? Because I'm coming from Mindanao also, no, and checking especially on Zampen or Zamboanga Peninsula, and then we are the highest getter. Pag titingnan mo, parang maiwasan itong misconception on that specific. Kasi looking at on the availability of states, universities and colleges, talagang meron parang hindi marami yung state universities and colleges doon. And knowing sa expenses on the state universities and colleges, o sa expenses on the colleges that are private, mas higher, di ba, compared on the state universities and colleges. So baka meron ding effect doon, like pag 19 years old, kasi graduate ka na ng senior high school niyan, di ba? So pag meron tayong data na ganyan, baka makita natin, hindi pala ito dahil sa, baka meron dito si DepEd or si CHED makapagsabi na talagang based on our data, talagang konti lang yung nagpro-proceed to college in this area. Parang ganon. So, yun lang yung po yung specific tanong ko lang po, ma'am, on the teenage pregnancy. So that in Region 7, we can tailor fit or give more emphasis on providing interventions out of
the Philippines, and due to limited number of cases that we got. So we have, considering that structure of the Philippines, so we have, if you're going to have the statistics on the, okay, let me, 3% of women age 50, sinasabi that out of this, they already, 3.3% have ever had already of live birth. May mga anak na ito talaga, live birth then, have already had a live birth. Who have ever, ang nabuntis na, mayroon din sila almost close to 3.3 din na may live birth. Although mayroon silang currently pregnant and those may pregnancy loss. Maliit lang siya. Very already childbearing of 15 to 19, which is also, this percentage, 3.3%. So, go sa structure. Anong specific age group ba ito, no? Sa atin, sa Philippines. So, who have begun childbearing, ever had a live birth. So, of these women, 15 to 19 years old in the country, 9.3% po were in age 19 years old. Parang you're confirming with your observation, no? 9.3% of these women nasa 19 years old, which is that number. And then who have ever been pregnant, it's already 9.7%. 19 years old were 19 years old, 9.7 of these women, 19 years old of these women have ever been pregnant. Among the 15 to 19 years natin na women. Okay? So, na-imagine na natin, that is about 10, no? About 10, and every one na among 10, 15 to 19 were already 19 years old. Mayroon na sila, they have ever been pregnant. Nabuntis na po sila. And then, they began childbearing, 93, and every 114 of age 15 years old among women for every 100. If you want to look at more, yes, based dito sa data, they are in rural. Mag-isip na kayo, sir. 56 in every 100 have begun childbearing in rural areas po. Educational attainment, highest grade completed, who have begun childbearing. 16.2% have completed grade 6% of women aged 15 to 19 were grades 1 to 6. They are in the lowest quintile, wealth quintile. So that means they're poor. They're poor. So with about 9% of women 15 to 19 years Philippines.
Many women are speaking up against abuses. I would just like to ask, what measures did the PNP made that may encourage women to...
Miss Universe. Ang policies nato, what will happen, dili dapat mahadlok. So, strengthening community communications, community relations, the most very important nga gibuhat, good. Kay kung dili measures nga gibuhat sa PNP. Aside from giving flyers nga dili dapat inani against terrorism, dili dapat mo inani nga kung magbalakbol manus amulo moral ang batag nato sa mga SNO didto, mo share ang ato ang mga WCPD, and also the same no naatay mga seminars conducted dili para sa mga bata pero para sa ilahang mga ginikanan ug para sa mga ato ang force multipliers. So it's a very good thing said na nakuan gyud no, bisag ni dako ni taas ang ato ang rating, ni taas ang krimen, positive jud siya. Unlike before, nahilom lamang gud sila ma'am kay dili na to halos maabot ang mga far-flung areas, mountainous area. Especially katong apil pa ang Negros, no? Negros is majority of the cases nato naa didto. Labi na from the Giholngan, katong mga mga atrocities no initiated by the perpetrators nato ana mga communist terrorist group, majority ma'am dili mag-abot sila bakbakay na. So dili madungog kung unsa ang ilahang mga hinanakit, though the government is trying to reach them, no, inform them. So sa karon sa ato adinhi we have only 5 PPOs, the Bohol, Cebu Province, Cebu City, Lapu-Lapu and Mandawi. The PNP is always no willing to reach out those families, labi na tong mga kinahanglan jud kaayo affected, for them na dili sila mahadlok and to hadlok naa ang gobyerno. Okay? So, I hope na nasatisfied ikaw sa imong pangutana, ma'am. Thank you.
Is that the PNP data, hindi siya yung ating age coverage is different from the one that we've presented, para lang walang miscommunication, no? So we would like to emphasize yan. So if you look at the data or sexual, so from 18.3% in 2022, there was really a decline in 2025. For among women lang ito na age for 15 to 49 years. Okay? So there was actually an improvement naman in terms of those who experience violence committed by their husband or partner. So actually, regardless, nag-decline yung ating proportion of women who've experienced such violence, which is opposite doon kasi all age yun, ma'am. Yes. Okay, thank you.
Any follow-up question?
One last follow-up po, ma'am. Kanina po although there's an increase in the data, but however, it's also very alarming to hear na some of the cases were cleared as to what you have mentioned, mostly kay maaligro ra ang ilahang case. So nga ang relevance sa pag-speak up nila kay mayroon magyapog wala if madala ra sila ingana ang
Actually, thank you for that, ma'am. No, usually mo gina cases na mo no gina-cater nga ikaugma or either next week dili na sila mo masettle na, ma-okay na sila. So ato man na silang gipasign no nga dili na sila mo push through sa ilahang cases. For our record also nga kani sila nga mga kuan sige ni sila balik-balik na ni mga inani nga incident. But for the purpose sa SIRAS, we need to close it, mong good ma'am, no. The community is dili sila ka-control kung kanus sila gustong moadto. But kami sa PNP as a public servant, we are always open to cater them. So bisan kapila pa na sila magbalik, wala tayo realize nga angay pabagyod nga ibalik na or else fix their own issues first before complaining to others. Kay once dili nato sila ma-educate ana, permanente gud sila magbalik-balik. Nya naay uban, balihon nila, dili na mo kita ang PNP ani kay sige na kagbalik-balik. No. That's the very big no good no. Because ma-record bagyapon siya as other incident. But dili na. Because naami portion dito sa amo ang monitoring kung ikapila siya magsig adto dito sa among progress report. So adto na ginabutang namo dito na from time to time nagsigi ba na siya report dire or wala. When it comes to follow, dili. Kay kung amo ra siyang pasagdan nga mobalik siya ngadto, basig maabtan sunod tuig nya nahibal-an namo nanganak na di siya balik. So inaana ba? So mao nang we need to follow up those cases para ma-close na mo or mahatagan na mo dito saktong case status. So sa inana lang sad sa amo ma'am sa side pod sa PNP ma'am. I hope na klaro or na tagan tikaw.
Questions? Can we have?
Hello, good morning. I am Mary Joan de la Cruz from Cebu Normal University. My question is for PSA on methodology. Looking at the slides presented a while ago, it is very highly commendable that the 2025 NDHS achieved an outstanding response rate of 99.5%. My question is, in the data, it shows that the regional fertility has dropped a historic low of 1.7, heavily influenced by the 40% of the college attainment of the respondents. The region-wide educational increase also across Bohol and the Siquijor. You've mentioned a while ago that you excluded already the NIR. I would like to ask if the sample weight heavily reflects the urban density of Metro Cebu.
For the total samples for...
Onya, ipuno na na kog usa ma'am kanang ngano daw ko nung 49 rakuto bang age ing si sir.
That's
Si
the
ma'am sa
okay. Unahin ko muna while looking at some data on the response rate for Central Visayas. So, international, the definition of reproductive age is 15 years old to 49 years old. So that's the international definition for reproductive age. And then, Visayas, we have 1,129 with a response rate of 98.4. And wala po tayong in terms of disaggregation only for national.
Okay, thank you for
only
that
for
information.
national po. Okay, po.
Ang second na how did PSA handle privacy and also sensitivity during the field work, no? Kay di ba there are enumerators that were hired, especially if they conducted the interview in their house ng ma-conscious or kay naa ang how you call it? Kanang naang concerned person, yeah, the
HS, we have two types of questionnaires. One is the household and one is for the individual woman questionnaire. Pagdating sa woman na questionnaire, talagang pinapa-excuse namin. It's a protocol and they were trained on how to handle the interview. So that's how strict we are pagdating sa interview, pagdating sa woman. And of course, it is being...
Okay.
Bawal po ang medyo...
Good morning.
Hi.
I'm Dale Israel from One News, Signal TV. I would like to ask about the teenage pregnancy rates in Cebu. Before it's 5.1% in 2022 and it's 3.3% now in 2025. So what could be the factors wherein there's a decline in the teenage pregnancy rates, and does it have to do also with the fertility rate? Does it fertility rate is also declining, and the teenage pregnancy is also. Are they using? Are they using family planning already? I mean, what could be the factors?
Programs for age na maka-create sila og core group sa ilang LGU nga may terms pod sa kaning katong pag naggamit ba sila, sir, o nag-avail ba sila og family planning consent, kanang parent consent? I'm sorry. Pero
Okay. Mo tabang ko no for the teenage pregnancy, DOH also has its own kanang data. Okay? But as of now, wala na ko nakuha ang data. I think it's best to say na increasing ang teenage pregnancy. Okay? If you're asking me if nanganak na, we do have cases na magpataod yun sila og kanang implant, or they're really going to use the pills or the hormonal procedure na mga methods nato for the family planning. Okay? So, pero we need to have the consent. Now, for unsay ginabuhat ni DOH, we make sure that LGUs would have adolescent-friendly na health facility. Because usually, we've been teenagers once, right? So, we know that dili ta mo duol sa tong parents. Those teenagers won't go near to our parents or their parents. So, they won't tell, Mommy, Daddy, nanay na happen. Okay? So, we are trying to na adolescent-friendly na health facility karon sa mga different LGUs. Okay? So, their health. So, thank you.
Follow-up.
Let me add.
A follow-up question. I would just like to clarify when you said that the teenage pregnancy cases are increasing. When we got here, this is decreasing kasi it's 3.3 in 2025 and 5.1 in percent.
2020. Why? Because we only have from LGUs and unlike sa unsay data na makuha na mo. But speaking of the DOH side, what we have seen currently is increasing siya.
For Central Visayas, but we want you to look at the of women. Nag-decline po siya from, we don't have more detailed characteristics, but looking at the Philippines, so ano ba yung nag-contribute? As man, for those who have no education, contraception for any method, and to 10, and those who have an education of grades 11 to 12. So nag-increase po yung ating use of any contraception, of any method of contraception. So among teenage who are very interested to study teenage pregnancies, to look at ano ba yung other contributors or other factors that might affect there's a pregnancy who have started already childbearing and began childbearing and are pregnant, why they got pregnant and they began childbearing at that early age. So, call na po ito ng ating mga researchers and also the academe na maggagawa ng kanilang thesis, dissertations. And also there are studies and scholarship or studies being funded by CPD and DOH ba? You're offering research? DOST? Sa CPD. Research funding. So, sa national daw. Kasi na-mention sa amin.
Pregnancy sa NDHS has a teenage pregnancy, lahi ang age group pud namo na aggregation. So, it's a different data. So, 9 years old to 19 years old only. So, naay uban na wala na include.
Okay, let's proceed with the final question.
Hello. Hello, good morning, everyone. I'm Marisette from Cebu Daily News. We'd like to ask about the trends in child immunization or vaccination. Here in Central Visayas, it was recorded for 2025 at 49.3%. When we looked at the 2022, it's less than half of the population of children aged 12 to 23 months. And what are the possible reasons and factors behind the decline in the
23 months, it's 79 point. It's actually of our parents. Okay, we are programs na they would be the champion. Another strategy from the LGUs that we are trying to advocate more is from the leadership and governance side. So meaning, hoping they can create an ordinance, because without that budget, sometimes people cannot move. So it's a time na we're going near to the family, a mountain area. So for those who are to the nearest health station, so without a budget, walay maka-adto sa mga tao, sa mga good practice ni Mandawe. On the holidays, the LGUs are trying their best. So once we did our monitoring, we asked, do you still do vaccination during holidays? They would really tell us na even on Christmas Day or New Year's Day, if ang bata is really scheduled on that day, they will open the health station. It's up to the parents who will go to the health station. That's the problem because, for example, the FIC or the second dose of measles that mother doesn't want to give a vaccination on that day. Why? They want to celebrate. They don't want pass ang atuang healthcare workers. Okay? The law mandates healthcare workers should give vaccination, not the mothers. Monay kalisudan sa law na to. It's us who needs to give the vaccination and not the mothers itself. So, the responsibility warag nahog na asa healthcare work things. So, karon giigo na namo si leadership and governance. And then we also had an upcoming measles supplemental immunization na activity that will happen probably by August. Younger than 6 months will have measles. So, from 6 months as much as possible, hatagan na namo sila og MR. That's just a burabag kung sa private pa, ginatawag siya booster shot. Okay? So, we're going to give that sa mga bata once. Okay? So, that's what we're trying to do right now. Okay?
A lot of parents are starting to express fear of vaccination. So
Yes.
Is it also a factor in the
Yes,
decline?
factor gid siya. Because remember, unsay naagian na to. We had a good vaccination sa una. Ang nahitabo what? Dengue siya. So we're trying to, win the parents na this immunization has been there free, it is cost effective at all.
Na, slide 11 dun sa immunization. Coverage of immunization in Central Visayas. So if you look at the slide, nakikita na. From 2022, 3 doses of DPT containing vaccine. From, nakita nyo, yung down. And then in 2022, down vaccines that have a decline in terms of coverage. Okay, that's the last.
All right, I guess that's it for our open forum. Ladies and gentlemen, to provide a synthesis of the discussions and key takeaways from today's forum, may we call on the Chief Economic Development Specialist of the Department of Economy, Planning and Development, Mr. Mariolito M. Bonggot. A round of applause, please.
to Dr. Faith Curaraton of DOH-7, to Police Senior Staff Sergeant, Statistical Authority, Regional Office 7 for organizing today's event. The Regional Dissemination Forum on the 2025 National Demographic. The timely and relevant data will significantly inform and enhance the policy making, project development, and project implementation, not only of the regional line inclusive and resilient Central Visayas. In behalf of our Regional Director, Jennifer C. Britannia, allow me to highlight key findings and emerging trends from the results of the 2025 National Demographic and Health Survey Development Plan 2023 to 2028. So the findings of the survey present an important picture of the region's continuing demographics among stakeholders. On child health and development, survey findings for Central Visayas presented positive gains in several areas. Childhood mortality under 5 mortality rates. Child discipline indicators also reflected encouraging trends with increased use of nonviolent discipline and reduced incidence of violent disciplinary methods. Likewise, early childhood development indicators suggest that a larger portion or proportion of children are developmentally on track in terms of health, learning, and psychosocial well-being. A portion of children were fully vaccinated with age and ensure that children RDP or the Regional Development Plan 2023-2028 identified continuing immunization gaps and geographically isolated and underserved communities. Their RDP emphasized innovative approaches to improve healthcare accessibility. Maternal healthcare indicators likewise presented a mixed picture. While encouraging gains were observed in tetanus protection for newborns, the survey also showed declines in These findings are needed to ensure sustained access to quality maternal healthcare services and strengthen continuity of care across communities. These findings are consistent with the RDP, which identified continuing challenges in maternal health care, particularly in underserved communities. The RDP likewise highlighted shortages in healthcare facilities and human resources for health items. Beyond maternal health care indicators, the survey also presented encouraging developments in social well-being and protection, progress, and strengthen. These findings provide only a glimpse of the rich insights that the National Demographic and Health Survey offers. The presentation actively influenced the quality of human capital. As regional development, the strategy framework requires or recognizes also by health environments for actions. Through sustained collaboration, let us continue pursuing a healthier, more resilient, and more inclusive Central Visayas. Daghang salamat ug siyetita.
Certificates of appreciation to our This certificate of appreciation is presented in grateful recognition and sincere appreciation of his or her invaluable services rendered as a resource person in the 2025 National Demographic and Health Survey Regional Dissemination Forum on Key Indicators on 21st May 2026 at Golden Prince Hotel in Cebu City. Given this 21st day of May 2020 of the Commission on 3 OIC of Family Health Section, Department of Health 7. Next, we have Thank you very much. This concludes. We thank you to all our speakers, participants, and partners for your active participation and continued support to the Philippine Statistics Authority Region 7. Up next is the press conference for the 2024 to 2025 Annual Labor Statistics. But of course, before that, lunch will be served. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, may I request everyone to rise and put ourselves in the presence of the Lord for the prayer before meals. We come before you with grateful hearts. As we are about to partake in our lunch, we ask you for your blessings upon the food that has been prepared. May it nourish the Holy Spirit. Amen. The 2024 to 2025 Annual Labor Statistics Press Conference while having your lunch. Thank you.